So guys,
Okay.
back again for another PDOCS live stream series episode. And as I mentioned, and anybody that joined probably saw one of the posts or one of the 18 stories I think I posted this week featuring our special guest here, the sales ninja, Jay Lee. Pleasure to join us, Jay. Thank you so much for coming on. And why don't you just start off with telling the audience, number one, how we got connected and a little how we know one another, and then give a little of your background and expertise. And we'll just kick it off, letting them get familiar with you.
Sure. Thanks so much, Raymond, for the intro and the invitation. We met on my podcast, which is a Sales Into Show podcast, and I didn't know who you were. I just had seen your bio and was really, really impressed. And typically, on my Sales Into Show podcast, I interview people who are 7, 8, 9, 10-figure entrepreneurs, and you were well into that. So I'm like, let me get to my secret agenda is how do I become your best friend and learn what you're doing and help grow and scale companies so that we can win together. And had a great connection. You did an amazing job of just free flowing and unscripted, just having so much fun in the room. And so
Totally.
some people know me as a sales ninja. I was a former introvert, a former banker, former pastor, preacher, worship leader, a lot of formers, and a reluctant evangelist. And then I pivoted into high ticket sales closing for coaches like Raymond, and was helping grow and scale this company into from zero to multi millions, or 10K months to 100K months, 100K months to $1 million months, et cetera, et cetera. And then I had literally hundreds of people asking me to either sell for them or teach them how to sell. So I started my own sales ninja business about 2.5 years ago, and it's been so much fun. And it's full of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, as I'm sure your audience and you can recognize. But I also agree, and that's why we're such good friends, is the family first. And like this afternoon, I'm heading off to my 11-year-old daughter's volleyball tryouts. I'm coaching,
Nice.
so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. No, you mentioned a couple of things there. Number one, though, you let your secret out. You told me the secret behind what you do is become everybody's best friend, and that's what you're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to
Well, that's
achieve.
what you do so well.
And then you said something else there that you're right. No matter your success, no matter where you're at in your journey, starting off or established 8, 9-figure earner, whatever, there's certainly ups and downs, and I think that's what I really love about it. To be honest, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? I want it to
Right.
be easy. I want it to take hard work, to take consistency, to take dedication, to take leveling up, to be one of the best in my industry. I can't just be complacent and say, oh, let me just go hop out of bed and hop on Zoom today, right? That's not what it's about and what we do. Preparedness has a lot to do with confidence and how we show up for clients, students, and the marketplace. And I think you exemplify that as well. So you
Amen, brother.
mentioned, quite a few things there. Just to elaborate before I have you get into what you want to cover, you had mentioned, your sales expertise and what you had done, and I've had this happen, being recruited by a lot of business owners. Hey, can you come sell for me? And you can only sell for so many people, right? I mean, and if you really want to do well, you really got to focus on one offer. Once you divert your energy between offers, stuff it's a little convoluted, right? So you got a lot of production.
100%.
Just so I'm clear, you got a lot of production as a rep and a lot of revenue generated and killer numbers in the business, and then you got a lot of results building teams and managing those offers as well. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and you know this really well because you've been super successful, is, people don't want to work with you or hire you unless you could really help them get a result or get a transformation. So, like, if I'm a mediocre soccer player or football player or baseball player or basketball, whatever your sport is, um,
About that.
you know, no worries. If I'm like a average or mediocre or even below average player, people are not going to want me on their team, right? But if I'm a star athlete, a team player, and also a leader, it's a trifecta. And so, whatever you do, whatever I do, I'm always looking at sharpening my skill set, acquiring other people's knowledge by hiring mentors so that they can help collapse time and accelerate results. So, what they've been doing for a lifetime or 20 years, if it's tennis or golf, I can learn in 1, 2, 3 months maybe. And so that's how it works, and you know that.
Yeah, no, very, very, very well said. And guys, we're going to get into the lesson part here in just a moment. What I'm just going to tell you guys, because I love being like very transparent, and I think Jay mentioned I'm rather unfiltered or unscripted, and he's very
Okay, love.
similar, which is another reason. I jive. But guys, I try to bring people onto this live stream series, as I always talk about, people that are experts in certain areas where we can take stuff that we can go implement and execute ourselves in our businesses. I always say I would love for anybody watching to at least have one takeaway from today that, hey, Jay said this or showed me this, I'm going to go implement that, right? Maybe there's more, but if we can at least take away one thing that we actually implement, and again, I think I'm sounding a little redundant here, but a lot of us consume information all the time, which is great, but it doesn't really lead to any results if we don't take action on it. So, try to highlight for you where you're at in your business and what we're going to cover today, what's most applicable and what you can take away and implement. I think that's super important. And how we kind of came up with today's topics and what Jay's going to kind of dive into is number one, we're going to talk a bit about messenger DM scripts, and we're going to talk a little about turning lurkers to buyers. The reason I chose these topics is because number one, they're relevant to what we do and what I teach at PDOCS. And Jay has a lot of stuff in his background. For instance, he's running this great Godfather Offer Creation webinar masterclass tomorrow, which I'm going to drop the link here in the Zoom chat, as well as wherever you're watching this, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, what have you. The link will be down in there. I highly recommend anybody go check that out. And you guys might know one of the things I teach a lot, and there's some stuff on here in the PDOCS group, is offer creation. And Jay's running a thing like that tomorrow. So I was like, well, let's talk about that, with your people tomorrow. And I'll tell my audience if they want to join. Let's talk about things today, which I haven't had people come on and teach a lot about, especially outside of myself. I do some stuff on DM scripts. I don't think I've ever really done a lesson on lurkers to buyers. So I think this stuff, that's why I picked these topics. I think they're relevant. I think they're things Jay and I can both chime in and add some value. And I think there's things you guys can implement. Anything to add to that, Jay, before you get into what you want to cover? Anything you want to preface it with?
Nope, you did a great job.
Right on. Well, let's start off with the messenger DM scripts. What would, what do you want to cover? And I'm not sure how you have this planned out, which is the fun of doing these unfiltered. You can bring up something to screen share if you have. Yeah, you can just talk about it.
I do have a presentation.
Right on. Start diving into it. I'll just take notes and ask you some questions here and there.
I want to try to make this as brief and amazing as possible and give you as much practical steps that you guys can take, as Raymond said, like that one takeaway. So my goal here today is to help you turn and transform those quiet lurkers into buyers using a powerful DM messenger framework that sells without selling. I just had someone a day ago, ice cold lead, come in, 15-minute call. And at the end of that call, through the DM messenger framework and the lurkers to buyers framework that I'm going to share with you today, literally this week, 24 hours ago, said, I need to join your program. How much does it cost? I'm like, okay, this is not what the call's for. But I am actually getting into my lunch. So if you don't mind, another 5 or 6 minutes for me to share that. And she's like, I'm in. And then she paid. So I usually have a threefold close, which is make sure you get it on the call. So I make sure that the credit is good. Number two, I look them in the eye and say, thank you so much, Raymond, for joining. You have all the choices that you could have taken, but you chose us. Number three, let me share with you next steps for onboarding. If you're able to check your email, your spam junk folder may have the welcome email with the next steps. Also, I'm going to ask you to open your calendar to book our one-on-one onboarding call to map out your offer, your pricing model, and get you a marketing organic strategy to help you generate leads and book your calls so that you can close and enroll more sales.
No, so totally makes sense.
That's the end in mind. So my goal is to help you grow or scale from zero to millions and help transform lives, one person or one group at a time, to unlock your potential and that it feels authentic and effortless. So why don't we dive, if that's okay, to help you make that happen. I'm going to be sharing a workflow that I created. Thank you for the opportunity, by the way. It was a lot of fun preparing. So
nice. Yeah, I know what you mean. I love digging in and preparing new lessons, especially if it's something I haven't taught, or maybe I've been teaching off the same resource for a while,
Yeah, it keeps it fresh and keeps you on your toes. So welcome to the Lurkers to Buyers workflow with Raymond, Ray and Jay, the Ray and Jay show.
Got a good little ring to it.
We're going to be collaborating together, and I think he's going to be asking some. There you go. And I think Ray is going to be asking some questions, and if you guys are open to it, if there's time to ask some questions. So I have something called the reverse glass selling method, and I'll share that just a bit. I'm going to give you the high-level version because I don't have a lot of time, at least in this session, unless Raven wants to talk about it later. Basically, in the sales process, you have the ideal client avatar, the pain points, your branding, consistent content, which I'm finding most people are lacking or don't like to do. So there's ways that you can either do it yourself or you can outsource that. And then giving first, which is a call to action for value to call to action. So a 70-30 rule is pretty much a generous, like for every 10 posts you do, it shouldn't be like buy my stuff, 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 buy my stuff times 10. It should be, let me share with you how I can help you generate content that converts. Let me share with you a free video that helps me to get a 94% show up rate on every single call. Let me share with you how I was able to close 92% cash collected rates. So things that are going to be what the market is looking for, demanding or wanting, give them that value as if they were your client. When I get on Sales Ninja audit calls where I help you find the hidden gold in your business, cha-ching, there's another one-on-one call that I'm offering to raise group that I don't normally offer because I booked 30 calls this week alone, so I don't have time. I'd love to offer that with no, you can keep your card in your wallet kind of thing, if that makes sense. There's no pressure, there's no high pressure, there's no sales. If you want to move forward, that's completely up to you. So in this sales process, you have the ideal client avatar. And the reason why this is a good starting point is who the heck are you trying to reach? Because a lot of us, I have a new client that just onboarded today, and he's like, I want to help people 25 years and up with digital marketing so that they can make money. I'm like, dude, that's like everyone. Like, and then we narrowed it down to he was pivoting from a health coach to a landscaper, and he's been pretty successful in generating $8,000 to $13,000 a month within the first 30 to 60 days, and consistently doing that. So I said, why don't you say something like, I help landscape business owners grow their business with the reverse grass method. Mine's the reverse glass selling method. It's grass within 90 days or less without using paid ads or whatever it was, right? So he loved that. And I said, that's basically what you did. You helped yourself generate 8 to 13K a month within the first 30 days. And you've been doing that since for the last 3 months. So know who you're trying to reach, because at this point in the sales process, they're buyer unaware. They don't know who you are. You haven't earned their trust. So most importantly is, what is the problem that they're facing? Because whatever problem they're facing, the bigger the problem, the bigger the solution, and the bigger the price. Okay? Big problem, big price. That's why the difference between going to a family doctor versus a neurosurgeon is going to cost you the difference between $1,000 to $100,000. Okay? Because a specialist or an expert always makes more. Okay? So here we go in the flow. We're going from client avatar. It's important that you identify the problems. I would recommend, I want you guys, I don't know how many people are in here or watching the live or the replay, is write down the 3 to 7 biggest pain points that your ideal client faces. Okay? So write that down in the Zoom chat if you're able to, and try to pinpoint what is it that they're facing. So some of them in the digital marketing space might say, I'm lacking content that converts. I'm not able to book calls, or I'm not able to find my next client, or I'm not able to grow and launch a group. I don't know how to monetize a group, so on and so forth. So the list goes on. So make sure that you write down the biggest points, because there can be like 30, but what are the 3 main ones? Okay. So I asked in today's masterclass for my paid clients, and I got this information from my client. He said for landscape business owners, 3 pains are finding recurring clients, they struggle with inconsistent marketing, and they're really bad with fulfillment because some of them that are growing their businesses don't know how to keep their contractor workers because there's such a high attrition rate. So when you have that problem, bring the solution. So Ray, I'd say something like, hey, if you're a landscape business owner and you're looking or you're struggling to keep current clients because people are either they're not happy with the work that you do, or people are not referring business to you, or you're not really doing much marketing to continue to get recurring clients. If that's you, I'm holding a landscape business owners workshop where you can find recurring clients on demand. Comment me if that's you, right? Inconsistent marketing. If you are doing marketing, but you're kind of hot and cold, or you hired digital marketing agencies or try to do SEO or Google ads, but you and I know that we didn't get many results for that, and you wasted and flushed down the money down the toilet, or you're looking for real results, we have an organic marketing master workshop that we're running in the PDOCS group today at 1 p.m., right? So you invite people to that. Fulfillment could be like, if you're struggling with fulfillment because your attrition rate for your contract workers is so ridiculous that people don't even stay more than 30 days, I have a free training video that teaches you how to hire and fire, and which has helped me grow and scale my business from 10K months to 150K months within 16 months or whatever. I'm just making that up on the spot. So then you just basically solve the problem. Solve the problem. Solve every problem they're facing. And when you do that, you're going to find that you're going to get a market message that either resonates or does not resonate. So let's say it's not a good message, crickets, no likes, no comments. So iterate until you resonate and ask the question, what have they tried? What keeps them up at night? How can you help solve the problem? Is this too small, brother?
I can see, okay, the larger might be better,
Okay.
but because you're
Okay,
reading
cool.
it makes it easier to follow up for sure.
Okay. Here, how about that?
Yeah, that's
What have they tried? What keeps them up at night? How can you help solve the problem faster? Because people love time and speed, because success loves speed.
yeah.
How do you do it with less pain? How do you remove, how do you make me lose 30 pounds? And if I can just get a shot or a magic pill, that's what people are looking for, right? But in the marketing and in the mindset and the coaching space is I don't want to, if you can transform a person's life that would normally take 12 months and you could do it in 30 days or even 24 hours, and the ticket price was the same. Let's say it was $10,000. I'll help you grow your business, get it up and running. It'll take 12 months. And then I say, hey, I got another offer where I can do it in less than 24 hours, same price. Which one would you take? One or two? One is 12 months or two is in 24 hours. If we had a big group here, then we would have the Zoom going nuts and saying 24 hours, right? Because everyone loves speed and they're willing to pay the price for it because they know the pain of struggling for 18 months, hiring two coaches that they spent 35K on and got not only no results, they didn't even get their return on investment. Do you want me to pause here or you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I'll chime in with one or two things before you carry on, but I fully agree with what you're saying there. Like when you're creating something of value and you're solving the problem, and giving them some type of video, as you talked about, one thing I just want to highlight is make that very specific. Make, you might have 30 different videos, right? One for, how to book
Yeah,
calls consistently, one for how to increase show rates, right? You don't jam it all into one. You have
no,
specific problems. That way, no matter which prospect you speak to, the more and more of these create, then they become evergreen assets. If one guy needs it, odds are somebody else is going to need it down the road, right? So you're already going to have it for that person. But it's basically making resources for people that are in different sophistication levels along their journey, whether they're entry level, intermediate, novice, or advanced. You're going to have different resources and you're going to speak to those people and they're going to need different things. And the other thing you said, I just wanted to expound upon, is I think some people look at this reverse, and I think you made a great point of it there. But like some people, when they're first crafting their high ticket offer, they're like, "Oh, I want to make it 3 months or 6 months or a year because the longer they work with me, the more value they get." I'm like, nah, like I would rather get the result in a week than work with you for a year to get the result. So I don't think that matters. What
100%.
matters, people aren't paying for how
Yeah,
long they're working with you; they're paying to get a result, right? And if, as you just
amen.
so eloquently put it, if you can do it faster, I'm going to choose faster every goddamn time.
Amen. Always and every day, all day, every day. We have a comment from an iPhone user, not an Android. Here we go, iPhone, Android wars.
I want that
The
battle.
inability to scale razor thin margins relying on human surveys. So I'd be interested if there's a Q&A time. What is your offer? Who's your ideal client avatar? What is your price point? And we can, if there's time that's available, depending on your niche industry, I may, or I'm sure Ray can probably also give some insights to help you.
I'm not sure who
Okay,
that is because they don't have a name in there. But yeah, that was when you
yeah, they
asked
don't
the
have a
three
name.
problems, right? They were like, my
Correct.
clients face inability to scale, razor thin margins, and relying on
Yeah,
human surveyors. Is that
yeah.
Isaac or is that Jonathan? I'm sorry, Jordan. But either way, carry on, Jay. I'll go back to that.
Okay. Okay.
Jordan,
It's
gotcha.
Jordan. Okay.
I knew by that
So
comment it was one of two of my students.
that's impressive that you know them. Not even by name, but by brand.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
iPhone
Well, we'll
brand.
get back to that though at the end. Awesome,
Okay,
Jordan.
cool. So here on the brand, once you are able to clearly identify the pain, I have something called the PPDD framework. Didn't have time to go into it in detail because of time. Is pain, problem, desires, and dreams. But the pain is the most important part because if you're talking about their dreams, they don't really care about the dreams until you can remove the pain, if that makes sense. That's more immediate and urgent. And once you pinpoint that pain, ow, 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 that really hurts, or ouch, ouch, help me, doctor, right? Then you create a power offer, right? The example of a terrible offer is, let me put a Band-Aid, take aspirin, and come back to me in 2 days. When if it's a 24-hour emergency that they're going to get a brain tumor that's going to explode in the head, they need $1 million solution like yesterday. So create a power offer. One example could be, I help plus size female executives 40 years and up, and this is the specificity of being niche down and targeting your demographic, and finding the pain point, reducing 3 dress sizes within 90 days or less without counting calories or having to run on the treadmill hours a day. And this is the problem. Like, I don't want to spend hours on the treadmill. I don't want to have to count my calories and macros. I don't want to have to, eat bird seed and fast every single day, right? If you can provide a simple solution that I can follow, and you hold me accountable and you kick my butt, then I'm in, right? And so from there, you move from being buyer unaware, and then you go from the ideal client to the avatar, to the pain, the branding. So make sure your branding and marketing message reflects the solution, because you want to become the bridge to the gap that they face, but closing the chasm, saying, I am the solution, I am the answer, I am the way to help you cross that gate, if you will. Consistent client will help close that gap. And when you do it properly, it'll basically mean that the content will do, oh, I just moved everything. The content will move all the heavy lifting for you, and it'll actually help you sell without selling. So there's a 7-Eleven 4 rule, which is how to be omnipresent, and it's 7 hours of content. Think about that. If you're getting people on a call and you say, man, I'm not able to sell my product or my service or my SaaS or my coaching, and they've never seen anything from you, they have to see at least 7 hours of content. So how are you getting omnipresent with, Ray and I do podcasts, we speak at multiple in-person, virtual events, master classes like today. So people are seeing hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of content. YouTube, I know Ray uses YouTube as well, so do I. 11 points of contact. There's a Harvard study that says when you do, is this rule of 7, if you do over 7 points of contact, your sales conversion rate can increase to up to 90 to 94% just by 7 points of contact. So 11 is going to help you get much higher. 4 platforms. I suggest doing 1 and mastering it first. And then once you master that, you can diversify. So that's a disclaimer. So don't just go bonkers and do 4 platforms. I'll just put it aside. I'm finding, like, I don't do it myself, but I find TikTok. One of my clients got 100,000 followers in 6 months, and I went on her TikTok the other day. She's got 294,000 followers, and one of my other VIP clients has over 6 million followers across 4 platforms. And I think TikTok, which is weird, I'm not even on it properly, is the unfair advantage where you can literally go viral almost overnight. So there it is for that. Create daily posts and stories, because that inconsistency means out of sight, which is out of mind. But when you're in sight, you're in mind. And some suggestions on what you can share is, what have you tried? What has failed? What has succeeded? What is your story? And how do people get to know who you are? And what kind of proof do you have that gives credibility and authority that people should listen to you and want to work with you? Right? And I just put one really, really quick here from my 71-year-old client who could not monetize her business in 41 years. She joined my program and had a 90% conversion rate on her brand new offer called Freedom Empowerment Coaching. And she's just signed up a client today for a paid in full for the whole year. So I don't know how much that is, but it's a lot of money.
Was that the one you just made a post about, and with the video of the couple there?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So you saw it. There you go. See? And that's a 7 hours of content. People are watching. They're going from lurkers to buyers. And then the last but not least, and then there's a DM messenger framework that I'm going to go through, time permitting, is the call to action. So I have a glass selling method that is give first, listen well, ask open-ended piercing questions, sincerely handle objections, and serve with humility. This is another lesson in itself that we can, save for another date. I give first. I say literally, hey, Ray, today there's nothing for sale. I'm gonna take my sales hat off, leave your card in your wallet. I'm here just to provide pure value to another brother and meet another amazing human being. How can I serve you? What's the biggest challenge you're facing? And I'll get right to work. And within like 15, 30 minutes, boom, I can have a strategy with one, two, three things that could literally help you find $10 to $100,000 a month in your business. And then what happens is this: any other questions you have, Ray? And like, no, I just want to know. I know this is not what the call is for, but what is your program like? How much does it cost? So I'm selling without selling. And then I'm like, that's not what the call's for, but if you're asking, I'm actually into my lunch. So if you have another 6 minutes, I can go over the offer only because you're asking. So they're asking me, I didn't solicit them. And then I just share it with them. And then if the paid in full or the payment plan works for them, I just enrolled a lady 24 to 48 hours ago with an ice cold lead, a 15-minute conversation. And I have two other guys today, literally, that like I want to join, and I'm giving them until end of day tomorrow because they were like, we didn't have enough time in 15 minutes to get to know you, but they already want to join. So if and when I do close a deal, and for you guys, when you do close the sales deal, I recommend, and Ray, you can comment, not giving them a contract and saying, see you and look forward to working with you. Just pay when you get a chance. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do three things, Ray. I'm going to accept the payment call, make sure your credit's good. Number two, as you come in, I'm going to look you in the eye and say thank you for trusting in me because you get a lot of different options. And number three, I'm going to share with you next steps for onboarding every single time. And that brings the close rate as high as 81% for me, and collection for cash up to 92% for me, historically anyways. And then watch, rinse, and repeat, and just go back to the beginning, to the very beginning. And then I don't know if we have time, but I want to share, if you're okay, the DM Messenger framework on how to book infinite leads. That has helped me book, I think, 30 calls this week. And I've got 3 people interested and 2 people that joined.
Nice. Yeah, we still got time.
Okay, cool. Give me a time of how much time I've got left so I can respect your time.
Like 10 more minutes maybe, and then we'll see if then I'll reply to a little more to Jordan based on what I now know, and we'll see if Stephen has any questions or if anyone else. But yeah, about 10 more minutes of this maybe is cool.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you. So who are you trying to reach? In the viral hand raising post, or what we call honeypot posts, this post got 300 plus comments, and it's simple, right? So you use like, this is Facebook, by the way, use like that bold background with blue or pink or whatever, and you say, hey, it's Raymond, or you don't say Raymond, it's I helped one of my clients hit 152K in 30 days, or whatever your transformation was. Mine was, I started a business that went from 0 to 64K in only 30 days. Do you want the blueprint? And then over 300 people said yes. So you got to identify a problem because they're buyer unaware again, and then create content that solves a problem, which is very similar to the framework upstairs, and then provide a free gift. So here's the blueprint, Ray, that you asked for. And then over here in the DM, I actually comment. Here's 3 variants for commenting. I'll do this in real time. Comments. So reply to the comments. If you can within 5 minutes, even better. You get a higher conversion rate. If you're waiting 5 weeks, good luck with that. I've been there and done that, so guilty as charged. So it's not a judgment or condemnation. It just lowers the close rate. Variance means 3 variations. It'll help you avoid getting soft blocked. Most people, if they get like a 50 to 100 plus comments and they want the free gift or the blueprint that you're giving, people, because it's so overwhelming, they just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And what happens a lot of times is you get soft block. This is for Facebook, for example, and your account can be suspended for like hours, if not days. You don't want to go there. So I recommend doing 3 variations. I have 100% non-soft block rate using 3 variations, which is, hey, if you commented on my blueprint, I'd say, Ray, thanks, permission to DM, question mark. A second one would be, thanks for commenting, can I send you a DM? Third is, sweet, shall I send details? So these are saying the same thing, but different ways. And it actually tricks Facebook algorithm from getting locked or soft blocked. And you can see from my calendar, these are like this week alone. And these screenshots are all different days, by the way. I'm not using the same picture because I'm not like that. And what I do is I send them a DM after I commented saying, hey, Ray, thanks for commenting on the blueprint. And I might ask a question, what's the biggest challenge that you're having in following through with your own blueprint and helping grow your business. And they'll say like, oh, copy, or growing a Facebook group, or content, or closing deals, or booking calls. And there's like 5 to 10 frequently asked questions that I know all the answers for because I've done this long enough. And then I'll be like, hey, no worries. Let me send you the gift. It's just so I know I'm buyer aware of what their problem is. And I send them the gift with like no strings attached. Here's a blueprint. And then here's where the Ninja-fi black belt stuff starts to happen. Okay. So now you give them the gift, and you give first, which is that free gift. And then what I do is after I give them the free gift, I follow up after 1 to 2 days. I ask, hey, Ray, how was the free training video on, burning 30 pounds of, belly fat or whatever the problem was.
Yeah.
Right. And then typically the prospect will be, oh man, shoot, sorry, I didn't have time to go through it yet. Right. Because we're busy. We just like to collect free stuff. Right. And then you say, hey, no worries. Would you be opposed to jumping on a free 15-minute call? I'd be glad to walk you through it so that you don't have to watch a 24-minute video. If you look here with a combination, and I color this in green because it's printing money for me, and I know Ray, you're going to catch this, but for other people, they can miss this point. It's gold. Is when I send a personalized video or a personalized voice memo, I pretty much have 100% booking rate, pretty much. I'm not saying it's always perfect, but in the last 2 weeks, it's been 100%. And that's, as you know, pretty unbelievable and astounding. And if you look at my calendar, you can see that that may be true. I might be lying. I might be making this stuff up, but I'm telling you it's true. And then I just go to giving first and getting on a call with them. And I don't sell anything. I just say, hey, this is what you can do with your LinkedIn. This is what you can do with your IG. This is what you can do to close more sales. This is what you can do to create a better offer. This is how you can increase your price point. Wherever you want to go, I can go wherever you want to go. I just go with the flow. And they're like, man, that was amazing. I just hired a branding coach and a marketing coach. In the last 12 months, I spent, I don't know, $22,000. I got more clarity and more strategies to move the needle in my business in the first 20 minutes of this call than I have in the last 12 months and spent 22K. So I have to ask this question. And I know that this is not what the call's for. What does your program look like? How long is it? How much support do I get? And what's the investment look like? So selling without selling again. And then I say, sometimes I'll say, hey, you know what? We're not a good fit. I don't help people on Etsy, sell crocheted frogs. Right. But I mean, the principles work. They're the same, but it's a low ticket offer. I don't typically work with people, that are less than like, it's like a $1,500 to $3,000 offer. You're charging $15. I mean, unless you're selling a gazillion of them, I can still help you with that, but not my cup of tea. And they're like, no, I want to work with you now. I'm like, but it's going to take you a lot longer unless we increase the ticket price or pivot. So typically I don't work with them, but if they want to, they force a sale on themselves. And that's the end of my spiel on Lurkers to buyers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's really good. So I got to say one thing I was thinking, and then I'll chime in for a couple of things. But the first thing I was thinking is, out of all the live streams I've done and guests I've had come on and teach here, this may be the least I've had to add or chime in because you do it so similar. Like it looks like I did this. Like this is my system to a T, pretty much. I mean, I couldn't agree more with the personalized voice notes and videos. One of my main hooks and stuff that's took off just like on organic free training that people love of mine is my cold DM voice note strategy approach. And I'm teaching them the framework behind it and how much better it converts than typing it out via text or whatever. But just all of it, the selling without selling. The one thing I might do a little different, I like to, tie people down on calls, as I'm sure you're familiar with. So like when we get to the end, I'll be like, hey, and I do the same thing as you, Jay. I assess where they're at, and then I'm like, hey, based on everything I'm seeing, these are the low-hanging fruit. I would go do this, and this today, and these are the results we should see. Now, going forward, with everything you've done in the past with your marketing, whatever it was, right? Organic, lead, it doesn't really matter. And where you're trying to get to, let me ask you, what's a better system going forward? What I just laid out today or what you've been doing in the past? Right. And I always put it back on them. And I only ask a yes or no question when I know the answer I'm going to get as a sales rep.
I know that, bro. I'm ethically stealing that.
That one is so good. It's like when you lay out your plan as opposed to what they tried and just, hey, Jay, which one's a better solution for you moving forward? It's very hard 100%. To say the way I used to do it. That sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
That
what
was
you were
gold.
saying there is even, and I do the same thing. If somebody's not in the right niche or industry and I'm the right business model, or I don't feel like I can really help them thrive, hey man, this is just not my cup of tea, but I'll refer them over to
Yeah,
somebody else who I know that works with them, what have you.
exactly. Me too.
But
Me
then
too.
I've had the same thing. Well, I don't really care if you necessarily work with my business. I want this system and I want to work with you anyway. And then they do exactly what you said. They start asking you the buying questions. How much is your program?
Mhm.
How much support? Everyone you named 4 or 5, everyone, guys, you should be thinking buying question, tick, buying question, tick. That's what those all are. They're saying, take me down and close me. That's what the prospect's saying to you when they're asking those questions.
They certainly are.
But that was great, Jay.
You
No, that
nailed
was
it right
really good. I like, other than what I just said, I don't have anything I can critique or really add on. Even with like your 3 variances, mine's the same. Verbiage is a little different,
on.
but
Yeah.
same thing. I'm like, hey, awesome, dude. Check your DMs. It's already there. Sent with a little
Yep.
check mark or a thumb, and a
Yep.
little emoji or what. But it's the same freaking thing. 3 variances.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, so excellent stuff. Really quickly, let me try to get some advice. And Jordan, if you want to chime in and unmute after this and add a little more. But as Jordan put in there, his client is healthcare survey companies, and he offers these AI call bots at 3 different price points, 20, 40, and 60K, that replace the work of multiple humans in the business and show an immediate ROI, like overnight almost. So if that gives you a little more context, if you could answer,
It
Jay,
does.
about what you think.
Yeah. So that's huge. I mean, I guess my question is, how come it's razor thin margin if the price points are so high?
Well, I think what he's saying is right now they have
Yeah.
razor thin margins because of their current. I don't think they're using this model yet. So before he speaks
Right.
with them,
Oh.
they're having razor thin margins. This is a solution to that, right? Now
Yes,
I can
exactly.
implement an
Oh,
AI
I
bot
see. I
instead of
see. I see.
humans.
I got you. I got you. So yeah. So I think what has helped me grow and scale companies into the multi-millions is proof. Proof is in the pudding. So the better. So let's say you work with a hospital, a healthcare clinic, and a walk-in clinic. Let's say there's 3 kinds of avatars, right? So small, medium, large, right? And then you have a case study for each of these. It could be a detailed. This is before. This is after. This is when they were doing their clinic and their medical practice, and this is when we came in. And then you can show a bump in, let's say, patient enrollment, in monthly or yearly sales. And when you see the hockey stick trajectory of like, this is when we came in, when Jordan's business or company or AI bot came in, and they were able to handle, well, not just 10 times more, they can handle 1,000 times more if they wanted to. They can do follow-up, they can do intake, they can do Q&A, and it shows the time that is taken to answer the questions and help people direct them in the way that they want, because people want speed to market, right? And so the faster you can get it, people are willing to pay or go to those healthcare solutions, because they have ailments and they have illnesses, and they need as much quick information as possible. And the AI call bots can do that. So the better you can show the before and after the transformation, how much time was saved, how much money was saved. What happens when you have humans doing it? Well, case study 1, these guys had
Hey Jay, just
2.
before you go too deep, I know exactly where you're going, and I don't mean to cut you off, but Jordan
Yeah.
literally just enrolled in my program less than 24 hours ago. This is a new launch where he's only worked with one case study at this point. So I totally get what you're saying. That's something we're going to build as we work together. Again, he just enrolled last night, so hey, welcome to the program, Jordan. You'll be having a one-on-one
Amazing.
kickoff call with
Yeah.
me soon, where we kind of build out the strategy.
Congratulations.
And you're right, Jay. But for in this case with Jordan, with only one
Yeah.
result, he can't build a
So
myriad of
he'll
those
do
right
case
now.
studies. So you can offer case study pricing where it's, a founder's rate, and they can be locked in for, let's say, the first year or whatever. So if it would normally cost 100K, you can give them to them for like 10K or whatever, right? And then say, in exchange for a case study and 3 referrals, right? And then you collect one at a time, and next thing you know, you got 10, 50, 100, 10,000 of these. Now you are the go-to expert and the forerunners and the first in mind.
Awesome. Hey, Jordan,
Awesome.
after the call, I'm going to be messaging you to schedule your first one-on-one kickoff call with me. So I'll shoot you a DM right after this with the availability of the times, and we'll get that scheduled. That's a great question. And dude, I'm glad you already have like your 3, you just kind of put together this offer with a little training I gave you. I know you had it in mind, but you've just been doing this really in the last 24 hours. So when Jay asks like somebody to list 3 to 7 pains or problems, it's good to see that you've already like honed in on those, identified those, and that's going to be great going into what we work on later today or tomorrow when we do our kickoff call. So I'll hit you up. But do you have any more specific questions right now for Jay, Jordan?
Though Really, his presentation was extremely thorough. So I'm kicking. I know I'm probably going to kick myself once we get off the call, but I can't think of any specific questions right now.
That's okay.
Awesome.
You can
Thanks for
you
the
can do a
feedback.
one-on-one
That's
call
great.
with me if you have any other questions, Jordan.
Okay, that's amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'll definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'll
You're
have Jay's
welcome.
link down in the description where when I post the replay on Facebook as well as it goes up on YouTube. So I already have his link saved. I will get that out to you guys as well. And then Stephen, if you're still on here, not sure if you have any questions or if you could unmute just momentarily and give us maybe some feedback or one takeaway from today's presentation. I usually give it a second. If he's just listening casually and not participating, that's cool too.
Yep.
On the
He's on
road.
the
Got
road.
it. Awesome, man. No, stay safe. 100%. Thank you for being on and listening. And feel free to give me some feedback in our little messenger conversation if you could. I just always like to hear what people are getting of value so I can keep making these more valuable and bringing on the guests that, are delivering value for you guys. So awesome. So yeah, guys, again, here in this, oh, Jordan, you might not have been on when I first posted. So I'm going to post this again as well because you just crafting your offer and going through my offer training the other day. And I know we're still going to work on that some more, but Jay here is running a Godfather Offer Creation Masterclass event tomorrow. So I am going to go put the link to that right in here. Jordan, if you have this time available tomorrow, I'd highly recommend. This will probably also evolve and give you more ways to look at packaging and positioning your offer in addition to the ways that I'm teaching you. Seems like Jay and I do a lot similar. Maybe in offer creation, you'll pick up some tips from me, some from him that you morph into how you craft yours. But
100%.
I think it offers you some value right
I'm
now,
a
Jordan.
lifelong learner.
In the stages.
That'll be amazing. I actually have that call already scheduled with you tomorrow at that time.
Oh, with me? Okay.
Yes.
Right on. So I'm sure Jay could probably get you the replay or whatever.
I'd absolutely love that. I know it's going to be extremely valuable.
Thank you.
Awesome. Jay, hey, again, thank you for coming on. Again, great presentation. Nice feedback from the comments here. Hopefully my feedback was nice too, because it's so true. Normally I'm like, hey, I do this different, or this is my take. I'm like, everything you're saying today, I'm like, yep, not much I could say to that. Like, that's how I do it. So thank you for sharing. And any last things from you to share with everybody?
Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to encourage those of you who are really struggling. I found like with a lot of my clients and people that I talk to I've been on 30 calls this week, and one pattern that I found is that this broke/poverty scarcity mindset. There's like 80,000 thoughts that we have every single day, and 90% of those are negative. And there's 150,000 people globally that didn't open their eyes today. So I think the vantage point is like, you're here, you're listening, you're watching the replay. That means you had an extra day as a gift called life. And think about your family. Ray and us are huge about this. Money making is a lot of fun, but relationship making is even more imperative. And I believe that love is spelled Time. So whatever you do to love your loved ones and your business will take Time.
Well said. Well said. And just to add to that, and almost right in line with what you were saying, what I like to say to people, especially early on, or people that are still kind of grinding and going through the ups and downs and maybe not hit the level of success they want yet, is two things you control every day. And this is how I wake up in my mindset: is my attitude and my effort. No matter what's happening, a chargeback, a no show, whatever, there could be a cyclone of things going on. Doesn't mean I can't show up and say, I'm going to change somebody's life today. I'm going to go drop value to the market. I'm going to go create some great content, right? It's just the attitude and the effort that you have control over every day. Nobody can take that away from you. So don't let people.
Well said. 100% agree.
Great. We'll wrap it up with that, guys. Another excellent session. If there's any resources that Jay or I referenced at all in this that you don't see in the description wherever you're watching this, just leave a comment or reach out to either one of us, and we'll be happy to shoot them over as well. Jay, man, thanks again for dropping value, sharing with our community, and just showing up as yourself.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you for the opportunity again.
All right. I'll hit you up soon, and we'll talk some more about some stuff outside.